What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Bailey Kramer, and in this video, we're going to be talking about why Airbnb hosts are switching from short-term rentals to mid-term rentals. It is no secret that the golden age of short-term rentals is over. There was a time just a couple years ago where you could buy basically any property, throw some furniture in it, and rent it out successfully as a short-term rental on Airbnb. But the game has changed, and it has become harder than ever to compete on Airbnb as a short-term rental. In today's climate, if you're not spending at least $50,000 on amenities and pouring in tens of thousands of dollars into furnishing your property with eye-catching designs, fancy amenities, and the whole works, your Airbnb is likely gonna be sitting empty. So what is the solution for Airbnb hosts in 2024 and going into 2025? The answer is mid-term rentals. Mid-term rentals is essentially where you rent a furnished property for a period between 1 and 6 months at a time. These guests are not your typical vacationers. They could be families displaced from fire, floods, or other natural disasters. They could be traveling professionals like traveling nurses and people who travel for work. It could be construction crews in the area to do a major project. It could be families who need a place to stay in between buying and selling their home, and so many other types of people. If you're serious about getting started with midterm rentals, check out my midterm rental starter kit down below. Besides the fact that it's getting harder to compete on Airbnb with other short-term rentals, people are switching to midterm rentals because there's way less market saturation, which means way bigger opportunity. And one of the beauties about midterm rentals is not only is it not saturated now, but I believe that midterm rentals will never become saturated, is because of the shorter booking window and longer stay periods. On average, midterm rental guests book properties just 2 weeks in advance, and they stay for months at a time. This means that your property would need to be available only a few weeks ahead, and it has to remain open for months into the future. This is something that most short-term rental operators aren't set up to handle and would not be comfortable with. But those who do it and those who secure these midterm rental contracts strike it big, and it feels like striking gold. Another reason why people are switching over from short-term rentals to midterm rentals is it is way less management headache. I always tell people that midterm rentals is like making the same amount of money from short-term rentals, but takes the same operational time as a long-term rental, which is really minimal once the guest or tenant is in your property and settled in. So you'll have fewer turnovers, less cleaning, less guest communication, which all leads to less overall hassle. One of the neat things about these midterm rental guests is since they're there for an extended period of time, they tend to treat the property like their own. They're paying for the supplies like the toilet paper, the paper towels, and anything they need for their stay. That's not true for short-term rentals, where you're spending hundreds of dollars each month for supplies. Now, if you're thinking, well, Bailey, I have a property that is in a market that has a really great window for short-term rental, but it also has a low season where we make basically nothing. What I recommend for you is something called the hybrid strategy. This is something that I do for my properties and recommend for you as well. So with these types of properties, during the peak season, we run the property as a short-term rental, and during the off-season, we run it as a mid-term rental. An example is I co-host a property on an awesome lake. In the summertime, it is a booming spot, and we make about $12,000 per month running it as a short-term rental. But in the off-season, the winter time, it is dead. And before I was doing midterm rentals, we were getting about $2,000 to $3,000 per month in revenue during the off-season. When we implemented the midterm rental strategy in the off-season, we were able to get between $7,500 and $12,000 per month. Again, in a time where it's considered the off-season. So I have properties that I'll do the hybrid strategy with, and I have some properties where I'll just strictly do midterm rental all year round. If you are a current short-term rental operator and you're interested in switching to midterm rental or doing a hybrid strategy, I highly recommend checking out the resource in the description below to help you fast track your journey and start maximizing your revenue. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.